Who is the author of truth? And I'll ask each of you again, who's in charge of truth? Mr. Weingarten.
Well, I believe as citizens, we're all entitled to evaluate facts and opinions and decide for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Koldorf?
Nobody's in charge. It's a collective responsibility.
Dr. Miller, address.
I agree. There's no truth with a capital T. I think we all need to be equipped with the tools to evaluate evidence and make decisions.
Mr. Turley?
I agree with all those comments.
Great. This is very overwhelmingly fantastic. But I'd like to ask a question, Dr. Miller, address if I may. You're an expert on so-called right-wing extremism, including online radicalization by right-wing extremist groups. You've written several books on right-wing extremism, including Hate in the Homeland, The New Global Far Right. You're a member of the Southern Poverty Law Center, the SPLC, Tracking Hate and Extremism Advisory Committee. I couldn't find any of your work studying left extremism or Antifa or BLM. I mean, we all know Antifa and BLM riots are responsible for $2 billion on damage across American cities in 2020. And Antifa literally took over Portland and declared their own autonomous zone. So I'm just wondering, how do you consider your organization, Peril, and a good source of informing people on what they should believe and not believe when you do no study whatsoever into left extremism?
Thank you for the question. I'm an expert on the far right because I spent the first 20 years of my career working in Germany in the post-Holocaust, post-unification surge of far-right extremism. And I know you have a hearing on Tuesday on far-left extremism.
Yeah, but Dr. Miller, just to let you know, this is America. We're not Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I absolutely right. But that's how, when I pivoted here, the first time I was asked to testify was about that evidence that I had learned from what Germany had been doing, and then that became relevant here for policymakers. But we don't, first of all, just to respond to your query about what we teach people, we don't teach people anything. We're just looking at helping them understand what the tactics of manipulation are online so they can make better decisions. We have experts who do work on environmental extremism. We have experts who work on Islamist forms of extremism. But because both under the Trump administration and the Biden administration, the emphasis has been right now on the greatest, most lethal threat, which has been determined to be far right, meaning white supremacist extremism and unlawful militias.
Well, Dr. Miller, just real quick, I'm out of time, but would you consider Trump supporters extremists?
We are worried about violent extremism, so that to the extent, not about what people believe, but to the extent that they are moving toward violence.
Trump supporters specifically.
If they're calling for violence, it doesn't matter to me who they support.
Haven't seen any. By the way, there's a great rally in Iowa this weekend. If you want to study people on the right and what they believe, you'll find secure borders, freedom of speech,
Gentlewoman's time.
no crime. Thank you. I
Gentlewoman's time
yield
has
back.